I want to ask the audience if you had any other names than the names you call yourself today. Yes? How about when you were kids? Did your parents give you any names? Yeah? Throw some examples of your Rinku, Joggu. Joggu, Rinku, there are Buntu, Puntu. Yeah. Aren't these the same names we give to our dogs? Our parents, give us a name that, we could also name them to dogs. It's interesting because, they love us, right? I guess. Well, in my case, my dad gave me a pretty unique name. It was Rithe. Anyone knows the meaning of rithe? Yeah? Can you say?
That's the kind of fruit.
It's a pretty hard fruit. Yeah.
You have to wash your hair.
Yes. So it's a pretty hard one. And okay, don't get excited, okay? Yeah. Come on. The reason he gave me that name was because I was a really, difficult to raise kid. Always angry. Whatever I didn't like, I started yelling, And one time, we're moving to Bangkok, and, back in the days, still we do, in the airport, we have to take a bus, right? My parents had promised me all night that, I'm going to be getting on a plane. But when I got to the airport and started riding on a bus, what does Rithe does? He started, pulling his dad's hair, all these things. I was an angry kid. Now, anger is the emotion that I have been living with for a very long time. And I'm sure it is an emotion that many of you share as well. At different times in your life, you show this emotion. Some frequently, some rather, not so frequently. For me, anger has 3 different levels. I'm sorry. 3 different levels. The first level is the what the fuck level. Last week, I was returning from my trip to Delhi, and I was on an Indigo flight. Now, this is not a paid advertisement, okay? I love Indigo flight because it's very creative. When they hand out a, box of nuts, they call it nutcase. And being the nutcase that I am, I got on that. And when I got on it, I'm always thinking, some random thoughts go through your head. Like, at that time, I think before taking off, I was thinking if the air hostesses, they practice, at home every day or something. And then, the flight was delayed. We were sitting on the tarmac, and I was not, angry or anything. I was just, the flight is delayed. Probably I'm going to get there late. But then, as I was just, staring at the stewardess, because, it's Indigo, the pilot started making an announcement. He says, "Ladies and gentlemen, the flight is currently delayed. We'll be taking off shortly, and we'll be climbing up to 35,000 feet. Who gives a shit? Who gives a shit if it's 35,000 feet or 40? Have you ever actually given a flying fuck about how high you are in a flight? Now, that's my what the fuck phase. It doesn't last long. Obviously, later I'm back to eating, nuts out of the nutcase or, just enjoying my flight. Now, the what the fuck phase is very temporary. It's momentary. It's not really a, serious anger issue. Many of you will have that, sometime in your day. Then there comes mukhemandim josto phase. Now, this is a bit more severe than what the fuck phase. The amount of fuck I've been saying today, I hope my mom does not watch this video. So I'm going to stay away from that. Don't think I'm an angry guy. The Mukhya Handim Josto phase happens to me, less frequently than the previous one. The perfect example of this is, recently I co-founded a startup, and being a former BBA student, I believe that going out there in the world to start up a business is something a BBA student should be doing, or if they like to. I mean, it's like doctors going out there and saving lives, You cannot ask a doctor to go keep doing your master's, which is one of the comments I get these days. All my relatives, my grandparents, whenever I meet, Babu, kaile master's गर्ने हो? Kaile पढ्न जाने हो? I mean, can we just stop that already? I mean, it's my grandparents, and I get that phase. And not only I lock and load, my arm in my head, I also fight back. I start telling them this, why I'm not doing, with all logic and information, like, look at all these people, like the level of unemployment even after, blah, 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 blah. Babu, त्यो त छ, तर पढ्नु त पर्यो नि. And when I go a step further and just, start getting agitated, my grandparents also start getting agitated, which I think it's a good thing, because they're old. They haven't, exercised some part of their body or nerves in, so many days. With a little bit of agitation, I can see in my, grandfather, and I really feel satisfied that he's healthy. But the mukhema handim jasto phase is, happens less frequently. So, but when it happens, it's not a good mood. It's a bit more serious. But the emotion that I want to talk about today is something apart from those two. Because with those two emotions, the worst that has happened is my relatives have started calling me Sachib. Some of them have started calling me Mukhya Sachib. And after our Prime Minister's interview the other day, I believe I might be getting called Pradhan Mantri soon within my relatives. But these are, really benign. I mean, it's not too serious. The anger that I'm talking about today is the Hulk phase. Everybody knows Hulk, right? Now, I know it's weird because of the size of myself, talking about Hulk might confuse you a bit, but I really have that phase where I really go nuts. And that emotion came about 2 years back. This is right after the time I finished my bachelor's here in Nepal, and I went to India to work for one of the, largest companies in the world. And there were, 75% of them were Indian staffs and 25% were expats. And there was me, right at the bottom of the food chain. I was a fresher. I was new to the city of Delhi. I frankly didn't even know how to speak Hindi, to be honest. It was a new environment for me. When I got there were lots of challenges, but being the angry kid that I am, even when I'm getting into a fight with auto driver on a fare, I usually beat that. But as new things started coming, new issues, I started handling them. And one day I found this passion project of mine that I wanted to work on. And I did. I gave it all my hard work, all my effort. Even some of my colleagues were helping me. The colleagues were also encouraging me. I saw this team spirit. I saw support from everyone. I just wanted that project to succeed because that was something I was really passionate about. And for a while, I did not have those anger in me. Now, all my life, whenever I wanted something, I got angry when I couldn't get something. When you were a kid, I wanted a certain toy or, wanted to go somewhere to play. If my parents didn't agree, I got angry. Obviously, I got a slap back, but I tried to get angry and try to convince my parents. That was my negotiation chip. That was my bargaining chip, getting angry. It worked. I mean, sometimes it didn't with my dad because, it's difficult. But after all, he's the one who named me Rithe. It's kind of difficult to go against a master. But with my mom, I got angry. Mom, I want to go sleep over at my friend's place this Friday. She's like, no, you have to do your homework. I'm like, no, I'm going. Okay, it didn't work like that, obviously. But, there was a lot of angers and, shouts, yelling, back and forth. And later, she got tired. With my friends also, something didn't go right. I started getting angry. My friend started getting, shouting. I mean, he started shouting back at me. I started shouting. It was always the shouting game. And whoever was the loudest won at the end, right? And that's how I got my things done. Now, with this passion project, I didn't see this problem coming yet. Now, when working for a company huge, huge company, and I'm at the bottom of the food chain, you can expect for sure that things will not go as you expect. There are many alternative factors that determine what's going to happen. And somehow, even though I was getting a lot of support from my colleagues on this passion project, I started hearing that it may not happen. There's a 50-50% chance. There are so many meetings going on behind the doors. I don't know what's going to happen. And one day, my colleague told me there's gonna be a meeting regarding your passion project, and during that meeting they will decide whether to go with it or not. Okay, that's perfect. I worked my butt off to make sure all the presentation was perfect, spreadsheet was perfect. I had my best looking tie for the day. Everything's sorted. I go to the meeting, and it's this boardroom that I have been there, many times during my tenure there. I've been there more than, 50, 60 times. Always had random meetings. I'm always playing Temple Run when the serious meeting's going on. I really didn't care what's going on. But this time, it was about my project. So when I entered this room, it was, something new. I mean, it was not the same boardroom anymore. And there, all these colleagues and, the seniors, vice president, directors, everyone's there. And it's the time that, the fate of my project is going to be decided. I sit down, I listen, and I listen. Something's not going right. It's not going in the direction that I was expecting it to go. I never got a chance to show my presentation that I worked on. I never got a chance to, go over the spreadsheet that I worked on. I really did put a lot of effort in that. But no, the discussion was about something completely else. I mean, it wasn't even regarding my project. I started getting worried. And for a moment, I really did not know what to say, because the conversation was not moving in the right direction. And suddenly, the director says, Saujanya, you are now, looking after this project. And I'm like, what project? He shoves a completely different project down my throat, which is a subtle and polite way of saying, go fuck yourself. I felt, stunned. My effort is completely in waste. I start getting, excited. I can feel the blood rushing through my veins. I'm like, I don't know what to say. But then somebody triggers, Saujanya's project, in a casual way. And I start asking them, what happened to my project? What's the status? What's going to happen? I started yelling. I started shouting. And by the time I realize things are going like this, really bright in front of myself, and I am verbally assaulting people. I'm yelling, I'm shouting. If I can relate this to a machine gun, it won't be going like do 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 do. No. It'll be going like Rambo, like do 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 do. That's the machine gun I was holding that time. and I'm attacking people verbally. And I cannot see, in front of me. And I still cannot remember the exact words I said that day. But as things start settling down, I can see all the people in front of me, and they just say, okay, this is the reason why we are not going ahead with your project, in a very calm manner. For the first time, when I got angry, somebody did not throw an anger ball back at me and replied to me with a cool logic and determined action plan. Holy fuck. I mean, that is the moment when you realize you made a complete idiot out of yourself. When people are that calm, it's like, you are throwing a jab, right, in the boxing, and the opponent is just standing there. It is not a boxing match. It is not a screaming match anymore. My anger did not work. And the silence that was there just humiliated me. Now, today, as I stand in front of you, am I a less angry person? No. Today, when coming back from office, we're driving in a narrow street. There was a van stopped on the other side. And just behind that van was an SUV, brand new SUV, pretty nice looking SUV, to be honest. And, that didn't even stop to let me go. And as it passed, I could see the SOB inside that SUV. And I just wanted to get out and, show him the finger. But then the car was too fast for me to open my windows, so the anger is still there. And whenever I still meet my relatives, yes, I still get that feeling. But now, those are really a motivating factor for me. When things like that happen on the road, it motivates me not to be like that SOV. Not SOV, SLB. And when I have that, locked moment with my grandparents, it's just a motivation factor for me to work harder in what I'm doing. But never will I want to. I really hope I never have to make a fool out of myself in front of people by becoming angry again. Now, I always think, what would have happened if that project got passed? I think I would have, lost my dignity and, got humiliated later on when the stakes were higher than just a project. Thank you very much.